Okay, our topic today is simple and compound interest, and we will start with simple interest. Okay, so first let's look at the definition of simple interest. The bank pays interest on the amount deposited. Okay, so interest is figured or equals the principal times the rate times the time. Now let's define some of these words. Principal, what is it? Well, principal is the amount of money you put into your savings account. When you put it in, we call that action making a deposit into your account. Okay, and then your rate. Your rate is the percentage of interest the bank promised to pay you for keeping your money in their bank. And then the time is usually figured per each year your money is in the bank. If you are promised a rate of 5% interest for your deposit, you are usually expected to keep your money in for a full year to earn the full 5% interest. Well, let's look at a sample problem. If you deposit $400 into a savings account and the bank pays you 4% interest per year, find the simple interest you will earn in 3 years. Find the total of principal and interest. Balance equals principal plus interest. So your first step to figure this out is first change the percent to a decimal. And again, our formula is interest equals principal, which is the amount you deposit, times your rate times your time. Okay, so our principal is $400, and we are going to multiply that by our rate, which was 4%. And remember, 4% can be changed into a decimal with 2 decimal moves to the left, and since there's nothing there, you're going to fill in with a 0 and put your decimal here. So 4% ends up being times 0.04 times the time, which is 3 years. Okay, so there's our formula, and I will work out 400 times 0.04. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 4 is 16. I've got 2 behind the decimal, so that's 2 decimal moves here. My decimal goes here. Remember the little rule, however many in the problem are behind the decimal, then in your answer you move it that many. So since there's 2, 2, so bottom line is my interest for 1 year is $16, and then I take that 16 times number of years, and 6 times 3 is 18, carry my 1, 3 times 1 is 3, and 1 is 4. So my interest equals $48 for 3 years. 16 for 1 and 48 for 3. Now that's what we call simple interest. And notice I earned $16 for 1 year on $400. But simple interest, let's look at the definition again. The bank pays interest on the amount deposited. So each year it's still figured only on the $400 because it's simple interest. Well, each year the bank credits you with your interest, and so then another kind of interest, which most banks figure interest on what's called compound interest. So that's when the bank pays interest on the deposit and the interest earned. So, for example, the first year you'd earn $16. So then your balance after the first year would be the $400 plus the $16. So the balance would be $416. So the following year, the interest would be figured on $416 instead of just $400. And we call that compound interest. And so let's compare the two formulas. Simple interest, the formula, your interest is your principal, the $400, times your rate, which was 4%, times your time, which was 3 years. If we do compound interest, your balance after 3 years would be the principal times 1 plus the rate to the nth power, and n is the number of interest periods. So in the case of this first problem, it was 3 years, so the n would be 3. Now, what does that look like mathematically? All right, well, we could do it with a calculator, or we could do it this way. $400 times 1 plus 0.04 to the third power. Okay, so that's 400, and that equals your balance. So that's 400 times 1.04 to the third power. So I could do this with a calculator, and that'd be the easiest way. I'm first going to multiply 1.04, and to the third power means 1.04 times 1.04 times 1.04. And then that would be times the $400. So 1.04 times 1.04, 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, 4 times 1 is 4. And then 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1. So I get 6, 1, 8, 0, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so my new decimal is here. Now I'm going to times that by 1.04, and I get 6 times 4 is 24, carry the 2, 4 times 1 is 4, and the 2 is 6. 8 times 4 is 32, 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1. Whew, numbers are getting big. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, then that big number gets multiplied by the 400. And so 6 times 4 is 24, and the 1 carried is 25. Carry the 2. 8 times 4 is 32. 34. 4 times 4 is 16. And 3 is 19. Okay, and hopefully that's a whole lot of numbers. And what did we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behind the decimal. Okay, so bottom line is our balance, because I multiplied it by the 400, and I don't know how I got that dot there. That dot doesn't belong. There is no decimal. That shouldn't be there. That's the $400. So our balance would be $449, and this 5 would cause this 4 to round up to 95 cents. So our balance after 3 years with compound interest is $449.95. Well, subtract the original 400 from that, and you can see with compound interest after 3 years, you have earned $49.95 above your original deposit. Where with simple interest, you can see here, we figured it would be $48. So you earn $1.95 more by doing compound interest. In other words, after the first year, you have $16 in interest, you add that to your principal, then the following year you're earning interest on the $416. Then you add that interest, and then the third year, and so on. So each year, because of your interest, you keep building more and more. And so if you're asked by a bank, do you want simple interest or compound? Hopefully you'll know to say, I want compound interest. On the other hand, if you're borrowing money and one loan is figured with simple interest and another one is figured with compound, then if you're borrowing money, you want to choose simple interest for paying back. So anyway, but most places are going to charge you compound. And so hopefully you've learned the difference. Thank you.